What's up, familia? Welcome inside the Big Rig. Hope you guys are doing good. Keeping in between the lines. Got your load secure. All right, let's get into a scary trucker story.
When I started out trucking, an old-timer I met at Love's once told me to never tell anybody what I was hauling, no matter how valuable I did or didn't think it was. I thought he was just old and paranoid, as I'd never really heard of truck robberies being a realistic issue, but I shouldn't have taken the old man's wisdom for granted. I had only been trucking for a few years, and I really loved doing it. Now I'm pretty much barred from trucking for the rest of my life, unless I manage to save up enough money somehow to buy my own instead of renting under a contract. And my series of errors began when I started driving through the middle of the night to avoid traffic and have a smoother ride. People always told me that was all good until I broke down at 2 a.m. in the middle of...
Alright, real quick, man. Two things right there. One, never tell anybody what you're hauling. It's rare. It's just kind of known that you don't really tell anybody what you're hauling. But at the same time, not too many drivers ask anybody, man. So if somebody asks you what you're hauling, it does come off as a little off-putting. You know, you kind of more ask like, oh, you know, where you headed? But what you're hauling, it's just kind of somewhat known that nobody really asks, you know, what you're hauling. So yeah, I could see that, man. You know, if your antennas go up, if somebody's asking you what you're hauling. Now, another thing that he said right there, he likes to truck it at nighttime because it's a smoother ride. Man, homie, I could not agree more. I would much rather truck it at nighttime like this. However, at the same time, man, you blow out a tire, you break down something, a lot of things are not open. And as you guys can see right now, it's it can get pretty sketchy, homes, you know. So
nowhere. And I discovered it leaves you more vulnerable for more than that reason alone. One night, I was taking a break at one of the sketchiest rest stops I've ever been to. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I needed to take a rest before going on any further, but I didn't expect this place to suck as much as it did. It almost looked abandoned, and there was barely anyone stopped there. I should have had the sense to just roll on through and take the next stop, but I didn't feel like it. I parked and pissed, and I shut my eyes for a few minutes. Then I spotted a vending machine in the building, and I wanted to check it out. You know, maybe get a snack or a coffee or something. I was looking for something to buy when a man came out of the bathroom and approached me. It looked like he was in some kind of biker gang, with the obvious leather jacket and the tattoos. Don't bother, he said. They're all busted. Oh, well, I don't really need any of it anyway, I said. Then the man reached into his jacket and my heart jumped for a second. But instead of pulling out a weapon, he pulled out a flask and offered it to me. This is what you really need, isn't it? He asked. Oh, no thanks, I declined. I have to get back on the road. Suit yourself. The man then shrugged and took a swig from the flask. Well then, good night, I said as I turned around and started walking back to my truck. The man didn't follow me, but he didn't accept that I wanted the conversation to be over. That's your truck out there? He hollered. He stopped and pivoted back to look. Yep, I replied. What are you hauling? He asked. At that moment, I remembered what that old timer had told me, not to let anyone know if you've got something valuable in your trailer. I stammered for an instant, looking for a lie that would sound true. Oh, just some toilet paper, I finally hollered back. Just toilet paper, huh? The man chuckled and smirked, and just by the look on his face, I knew he could tell I was lying. It ain't worth much as it used to be, he added. Yeah, I said awkwardly, turning back around and walking back to my truck. Safe travels, then, I heard the man say over my shoulder. I climbed into my truck and got moving immediately. I had a bad feeling about this whole thing, and I knew that I might be reacting too late, but I had to get a move on either way.
Alright. Look, if it's middle of the night like that, and it's a lot of open road, you're probably, and all you need to do is take a piss. Honestly, man, you're probably better off just pulling off to the side of the road and taking a leak, homie, as opposed to going to a rest area, especially if it's very sketchy looking. You know, just saying, man, you're probably better off just, I'm just gonna pull off the side of the road, get off. It's only gonna take, what, 60 seconds? Take a piss, as opposed to you going to a rest area and, you know, possibly have an encounter like this.
Because I was lying. I wasn't hauling toilet paper. I was hauling various medicines for a pharmaceutical plant, many of which would go for a lot of money on the black market. Opioids, amphetamines, or in this country, even insulin. Unfortunately, I think the speediness of me getting out of there might have given away that I was hauling something that was worth stealing.
Hey, if it were, what, 2020, toilet paper was a hot item, Holmes. But at the same time, you know, why is this guy, he's looking all suspicious, homie? I'm talking about the driver. Why are you looking all scared? Why are you looking all suspicious? Why are you over here all stuttering and stuff, man? Like, you're just, damn, dog.
I wasn't even fully merged onto the highway before a motorcycle raced up in front of me and started brake checking me.
Oh.
I could tell from the jacket that it was the guy I had been talking to, but now his face was covered. He took me for the kind of guy that wouldn't hit him and risk killing him, and he was right.
Yeah, see.
I slowed down, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by cars on the left side of me, pushing me onto the shoulder. And I kept going, even on the rough pavement. And then, for a second, I thought I might get a break. The bike in front of me moved out of the way. Then a second later, an old beat-up white van took its place and slammed on the brakes. I struck the van, and in a moment of rage, I decided to go full throttle and push the thing out of my way. However, when I looked out my driver's side window, the man on the bike was riding alongside the SUV that was blocking me in, and he was pointing a gun right at me. I panicked and jerked the steering wheel to the left, causing the SUV and the biker to flinch, but they didn't let up. Suddenly, the biker fired his gun. The bullet went over the SUV and right through the window and got lodged somewhere in the ceiling, but thankfully it missed me. Right about then, the passenger in the SUV leaned out of the window with a shotgun and fired at my front wheels, blowing it out instantly.
Wow.
By now, I knew I'd be killed if I didn't stop, so I finally gave up. I stopped and I put my hands up, knowing what was about to go down was not going to be pretty. In seconds, they were slamming the cab and screaming at me to open the doors, or they'd force their way in and kill me. All of them were masked, so their identities were fully concealed, so I knew there was no point in trying getting a good description on any of them. I obeyed and I unlocked the doors. I was yanked out by the biker and thrown to the ground. I caught a glimpse of my dash camera being destroyed before the beating started. Several of them went at me with clubs and brass knuckles and boots. I tried to protect my head with my arms and hands, but I couldn't withstand it for very long until I went unconscious. That's the last thing I remember, being beaten to an absolute pulp. I woke up in the hospital a few weeks later, with everyone around me saying they thought I wasn't going to make it. I had a broken skull, shattered orbital, missing teeth, a broken jaw, cracked ribs, a punctured lung, and internal bleeding, and a whole universe of bruises and lacerations. They say I was found in a ditch by a passerby at dawn, a whole 3 hours later. The doctor said if it had been another hour, I would have died from a swelling in my brain or suffocated on my own blood. It's truly a miracle that I survived. However, the police investigation never got far, unfortunately. The gang drove the truck on the flat tire into a clearing in the woods by the highway and rummaged through the cargo from cover took everything of value and left it there and fled.
Yeah, man.
Suspects were identified based on fingerprints and my recollection of events, but the gang is still at large. They could be anywhere in the country at this point. Calvary was and continues to be a long and difficult road for me. Of course, I had to file for bankruptcy because of the medical debt. Because, yeah, I'm not paying that.
Wow, man. Damn. Kind of almost reminds me a little bit of the Fast and the Furious, the first one. You know how they're hijacking truckers. However, they're not beating these dudes down like that. Yeah, dog. You know, you really got to be careful out here, home. Serio, man. It's the battlefield, man. It's the road. And like I said, I enjoy trucking at like this time, right? There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of traffic, man. It's nice. It's peaceful. However, yeah, dog, it's the time where a lot of sketchy things do happen, man. And you know, if you have a breakdown, if you have a tire blowout, if you have anything like that go on, man, it's like a lot of places are not open, you know, so it does make it a little rough. So do I enjoy it? Do I enjoy trucking at this time? Yes, I do. Do I recommend it? Probably it's not the best way to go about it. However, this dude, man, I mean, you're in a truck, homie. As soon as you see that they're over there trying to hijack you, dog, run these fools off the road, Holmes. You know, if you end up whacking somebody, hey, you end up whacking them, dog, because these dudes could have beat you to death. You know, you could have been, somebody found you on a ditch 3 hours later. What if they didn't find you, man? Like the doctor said, you would have died. And that motorcycle starts brake checking you, just plow right through them, dog. You know, you deal with all the consequences afterwards, but I mean, once they blew out his steer tire, which is his front tire, you don't necessarily have to stop. You could still keep going. You just can't keep going that fast. However, there was that high-speed pursuit quite a few years back where the guy was going, that truck was going with no steer tires, man. He was going on rims, but dog, you do what you got to do, man, to make sure these guys don't get you out of the cab. But hey, man, I'll leave you guys with that. As always, hey, be safe out there to all the troqueros, man. Be safe out there, homes. As always, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you little, but loyalty makes family. Until next time, this is the Tall Trucker.